The following is a presentation of TFNN. Trade what you see with Larry Pesavento. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, Larry Pesavento.
Okay, looking good, Billy Ray. Feeling good, Lewis. We're going to take a look at the German DAX and then also the FTSE. As you can see here, both of those had really strong rallies yesterday. The DAX making an ABCD possible double top. And, of course, the FTSE much weaker, just barely made a 78% retracement level. But we do have one pattern that looks very, very interesting today, folks. I'll have to go through a little bit of an explanation on this if you'll give me a second, and we'll get it up here, and you'll be able to see this. This is the old NASDAQ. I'm going to do it in slow motion and fast motion. Here's the fast motion. This is the daily going back to January of 2019. You'll notice we had the pullback to the exact 78% level at the 6,800 level. We're now at the 1.27 expansion, which comes in at around somewhere around the ballpark of 103.7, 10,370, something like that. Just a little tad under 10,400, but you can see the three drive pattern that's there, folks. And this is the one I wanted to highlight for you, because this is what you do is when you're watching these things, go down to a little bit smaller time frame, and you'll see where we are. So we'll get this up here so you folks can take a quick look at this. This is the end of the three drive pattern. The ABCD pattern came in at 13,350. We're trading around 10,350, and we're trading around 10,360 right now. Anything above 10,400 would probably say that this is not going to be a very good pattern. You'll notice that the low that we made here on the 28th of June was exactly a 61% retracement of the low that we made, on the 14th. So we know that those Fibonacci numbers are working, but whether they'll continue to work over a long period of time, we really don't know. Now, let me give you a tiny bit of an explanation here, folks. This brings back a lot of memories, this particular one here today. Look at this chart that we have here on Tesla. I'm not trading Tesla at all. All I was doing was looking at the ABCD pattern yesterday. It measured to 11,000. Excuse me. Wow. I'm getting feel like dot-com bubble days. 1,135. The high was 1,135.72. It closed at 1,125. And last night, one of the dudes that happens to be a holder of this raised the price objective to 1,250, and the market gapped up quite a bit. I will remind myself of what happened in 1999 in December. I had a customer, a friend of Bill Meridian's, one of his friends from Abu Dhabi, had been coming to Tucson to stay at the Canyon Ranch with his family, and he would come over and sit with me and trade a couple days a week, and we became friends, and he gave me a small account for him, which was $1 million, and he said, why don't you trade it and see what we can do? And we did very well over the 3 years, and he passed away shortly thereafter. But the coming into that December, it was right near the end of the year, and I was following Qualcomm because that was the big daddy rabbit at the time, and there was I had sold it at $640 a share. And the next morning, a guy named, his name slips me now, I'll remember just a second here. Anyway, he came out with a price objective of $1,000 a share. And I'm short 500 shares of this thing, and I figured, oh my gosh, it's going to get killed. So I called up and talked to his manager, and he just laughed at me, and he said, look, this is the end of the year. You've had a great year. Don't worry about it. And he said, what are you going to do? And I said, I'll give it the first hour, and if it's not, moving in my direction, I'll get out of it. And it was called $1,000. Wow. It was called a price target of $1,000. It traded at 660, where I'm short. It opened at around 740, so I was out $80. And in a matter of about 20 minutes, I was now back into a slight profit. And at the end of the day, the market started down and went down for a couple of years. But I remember that no, it wasn't Henry Blodgett. It was what was that guy's name? He was arrested. He got arrested for insider trading, and now he's on CNBC all the time. He works for another firm. And Henry. That wasn't Henry Blodgett. It was, what was the guy's name? I'll think of it in a second. I'm always a little late on remembering these things, but I will remember it. No. Kudlow was. Kudlow was already, he was just getting ready to make his comeback. So, no, it wasn't that. Don't let me try to think of it, folks, because if I do, I won't think of it. It'll just pop in. No. Ron and Son. I know Ron was still doing the CNBC stuff. Well, in 1999, there was no CNBC. That was KWHY in California. KWHY. So, no, it was not that. I'll think of it in a minute here, just a second. Oh, dear. And the more I start thinking of it, the more harder it is. Anyway, the reason why I'm bringing this attention, folks, these people, when they come out with their price objectives, I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist. If the thing's trading at 1,025 and you give it a price objective of 1,250, I mean, that's only a 9% move. Come on, give me a break. Now, it's wonderful that electric cars are sure to say, and I understand that Tesla has now taken over Toyota as the largest automaker in the world. And you're stopping thinking they're just doing electric cars. So, this is a big deal that we have going on here. By the way, we will have Shane Smolian will be on here for the half-hour section here. We've got to talk a little bit about the COV problem, because, boy, they're really pumping it on the tubes that people are getting sick, and I'm sure some of them are, but there's not a lot of people dying. Oh, we've got a caller in from Canada. Mike, are you there?
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning, Mike. I forgot to do the VIX for you, buddy. I'm really sorry. I'll do that at the break, and I will put it up.
Did you survive the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction from June 30th?
Well, I think so. I'm still here.
Yeah. Are you worried about the lunar eclipse? We've got a full moon on the weekend.
I think all these things are going to be very important, but no, we're doing okay. We've had some really nice trade set up. And so we're doing okay, but I tried the S&P yesterday for 4 points, and I got tagged in that, which was the best 4 points I spent on the week. But I think we're something big. I'm watching the Nasdaq, Mike, because that's the biggest. It's the one that has the most volatility, and it's got such a beautiful pattern up here with this 3 drive, but of course it could fail very easily. But boy, it's got everything in it that you could possibly ask for as far as a trade. But it is a wild one to be trading.
Okay, so historically on a long weekend like this, the day before the 4th of July and the day after, the first trading day back, are normally strong.
Yeah. No, it's just the first day. It's the day before the holiday. So the day before the holiday is today. So it should be strong today, and then that statistic is finished. So that's really, it just means it should be strong today, the day before the holiday.
But isn't there a Monday morning money coming in from overseas?
That we don't know. We won't know that until the July 6th. Okay. Hey, thanks for calling in, Mike. I'm sorry about that. I'll cover it Monday.
If you're not currently using the TAS Profile Scanner when looking at setting up your trading opportunities, then your arsenal is short a mighty weapon. The TAS Profile Scanner is a standalone piece of software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Headed by Steve Dahl, Taz understands that in today's technological world, the use of top-flight software applications and technical analysis expertise is essential to successful trading in today's market. You also gain access to the webinar that Steve Dahl and Tom O'Brien just hosted, The Best Way to Use the Taz Profile Scanner to Profit. This webinar archive is available for all subscribers immediately upon signing up. All new subscriptions also come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Start your subscription by visiting the front page of TFNN.com today, and you'll find the Taz Profile Scanner under the Services tab. Sign up today. Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today.
Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
TFNN has just launched their July 4th Tiger Dollar sale. For 1 week only, we've doubled all the bonuses where you can now get up to a 20, 30, or even a 40% bonus on your Tiger Dollar purchase. Tiger Dollars are good on all TFNN newsletters, webinars, and trading services and never expire. For all the details and to get your Tiger Dollars before this sale ends Monday, July 6th, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
Okay, we're back, folks, and I have a question from yesterday that someone brought to our attention, and that is on these patterns that we deal with. Let's just bring this up here, and I'll show you the chart that this gentleman asked a question on. And you'll notice here that you'll see here, just look at don't look at the part on the far left because it's got some bad data in there, but you'll notice that once you start where the gold arrow is, it shows the expansions that I'm looking at. You can see how these markets are expanding, and he's talking about how do we know which one of these to use. Well, the key to me is the fact where he has this blue arrow that says alternate extension method. You notice that's at the 1.618 of that swing down. That's also a double top. Once you go through that, folks, that sets up a bullish scenario, and you're in a whole different pattern than the one that was down there at the bottom. So when those happen, and we saw that happen in the natural gas, that you just have to either jump on board and put a stop on or wait for a pattern to buy back. We're seeing the same thing happening in the grains because, we've had some pretty strong moves after the movement that we've seen in corn and beans and wheat and meal. All of that stuff happened. And pretty soon, folks, you got to start looking at August hogs because down here at 48 cents, that's below the cost of production. So they're not going to be able to, making any more baby pigs around that time. So the problem is that when you have to go out into the farther options, they've already factored that in. So, any rally you're going to get in the August is going to be, short covering because it's below the cost of production. Well, we saw what short covering did to corn, wheat, beans, and that other stuff. So keep an eye on that August chart because it's got a chance, to do something that could be, pretty significant. So that's the main thing that we're watching. Let's take a quick look here at the gold market, because we mentioned this yesterday. We'll get this up here so we can take a quick look at it here. Here is the rally that we had when we went up new contract highs at 1807. We immediately dropped to $40 an ounce, down to the 61% retracement. They then rallied up to just a shade above the 382 retracement, and then we come all the way down to 1770 today. We're trading around 1775 right now. So that tells us that that top that we made there at 1807 was something that was, very, very important. And if you remember, we said, look for market feedback. And one of the things that the market feedback was telling us is that the fact that silver was making a beautiful ABCD double top pattern, at 1888, and it dropped, well over 70 cents an ounce from that level too. So those are the kind of things that you're trying to look at when you're doing technical analysis. You're trying to get as much feedback as you can without listening to the news, because my goodness, you listen to the news, you go skoshi bakatati, and that is Vietnamese for absolute crazy. And there's enough out there to really drive you crazy. So let's try to keep focused on what we're looking at. I wanted to share this one saying that we got from our good friend Rich Anderson, one of the finest young Christian boys that I've ever met. Let's get this up here so we can take a quick look at this, because this is really great, folks. This is, if you want happiness for an hour, take a nap. If you want happiness for a day, go fishing. If you want happiness for a year, inherit a fortune. And if you want happiness for a lifetime, help somebody. And I think you're absolutely correct, because that person will always have you in their mind, and that's what's really important. Okay, now let's move on here to just a second here. I want to post a chart of the natural gas, because I want to just give me 1 second. It'll only take me a minute to do this, I believe. Hold on, because we've had a pretty big move, and we're getting ready, I believe, for our first major ABCD pullback. Now I'm going to draw this in. I might be wrong, but this is what I'm waiting on. And as you know, I'm wrong a lot and right once in a while. So here it is. Let's get this up here so we can take a look at it. Oh, 1 second here. There we go. Here's what I'm watching in the natural gas, folks. This is the August contract. About 7 cents down from here will be at 162. Now that'll be an ABCD right at a 61% retracement. The why I think that's important is look at the rally high that we made yesterday. Well, it was actually late last night. We went exactly up to the 61% retracement up there at 173.5. And now that sets up ABC down to 1.62. And that should be a very, very powerful support, because look where that market broke out of. You see it broke out at 160 and went straight up to 178. I mean, that's short covering, folks. And that's what you're watching here. By the way, that move that we're seeing in the stock, in the S&P, I mean, even though it was a big move, the still open interest is dropping. So there's not a lot of people, participating in this route. Well, they are, but there's not big increases in open interest coming in there. So that's something to keep in mind. But that's neither here nor there. One of the questions someone asked last night in an email was, how do I handle the news? And I don't handle the news. I try not to pay any attention to it at all, because honest to goodness, it does nothing more than affect my thinking. I mean, you stop and think, oh my gosh, you'd think, gosh, we got 1 million jobs number that would ordinarily, be very, very bullish. But when it's coming from, down as far as it is, I mean, my gosh, how do you figure any of that stuff in there? So, and you know that the Fed is out there with their big guns, so you've got to be really careful about that. So just follow the charts and try to find the ones that are easy for you. That's the main thing. The second question that someone had, I wrote both of these down, is how do I handle the frustration of being long the wheat and taking a small profit and then seeing it take off the next day and make a big profit? Well, that happens all the time, folks. I mean, you're not going to be right all the time. You got those four things, the fear of missing out, the fear of leaving money on the table. I mean, all of those, that are there, all four of them, fear of leaving money on the table, fear of losing money. My goodness, you have to lose money in order to even to take a position for sure. And fear of leaving money on the table. The only person that doesn't leave money on the table is the person that gets the high tick or the low tick. And I've only met two of those guys, and they've both since gone on to the trading gods. And the fear of being wrong. You're going to be wrong a lot. So all of those fears are unfounded because you have to live with those fears every day if you're trading. So what you have to do is you have to decide, what is the position that you want to do. And believe me, guessing is allowed. You can literally guess and be right. The question is, there's nothing wrong in guessing wrong. The problem is in staying wrong. So you've got to be able to decide to do that. That's why Tom Hugard is such a great trader, is because he changes his mind, in a moment if he gets market information feedback that he's wrong. He might get stopped out of a trade and he quickly double reverses and goes long. So that's why he's able to do that, because he's trained himself to do it. And that's what you have to do when you're learning to trade, is you have to find the patterns that you like, whether it's the Gartley Butterfly ABCD 135, head and shoulders, rising tops, rising bottoms, buttercups, cups, handles, whatever you want. Whatever you decide to do, that's the one you want to stick with, because that's the one you believe in. And you got to have a belief in yourself first, to look at. Say, hey, look, I'm looking at this NASDAQ as looking at the potential for a major reversal up here at this 10. It's trading at 10,369. It's very, very near that number that we were looking at. Look at this thing. I mean, it's just hanging up here. And what else is it doing? It's coming in exactly, believe it or not, exactly on a lunar eclipse, okay, a full moon, and that Pluto conjunction that Bill Meridian was talking about, and that might be one of those times where it reverses. So who knows? This looks like it's a good one. 877-927-6648.
Larry Pesavento watches the markets 24/7, and now is a great time to try out his daily trading service, Fibonacci 24/7. Larry publishes videos and charts for subscribers throughout the week when warranted, and every weekend he puts out a thorough report covering worldwide markets, futures, commodities, and currencies with Fibonacci retracement levels, possible trading setups and zones, and stops and targets for all recommendations included. Larry applies the principles he's developed over decades of trading while analyzing a variety of markets for subscribers. To see for yourself the types of videos, charts, and analysis that Larry provides for his subscribers, sign up for Fibonacci 24/7 today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under the newsletter tab. You'll also gain instant access to Larry's archived subscriber webinar from earlier this year. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Sign up today. If you're a trader in the market looking to find the path that leads to maximizing profits while decreasing risk, then now is a great time to try out Dave White's daily trading service, The Path of Least Resistance. Through the use of options and equity trades, Dave advises his subscribers on a daily basis of the current market conditions and what possible trade setups are on the horizon. The Path of Least Resistance is published every trading morning, often with updates intraday when initiating trades or closing out positions. Dave White has advised his clients of some outstanding winning options and equity trades in recent months, and now is a great time to try it out for yourself. New subscribers to the Path of Least Resistance receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the types of options and equity trades that are available by signing up for the Path of Least Resistance today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com and selecting the newsletter tab. Sign up today. TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartleys, ABCs, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Okay, we're back, folks. We have Shane Smolian, thewolftrader.com, as our guest to talk to us about the coronavirus. What do you see, my friend?
Good morning, Larry. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
All right, everybody. Good morning, everybody. A happy 4th of July. I hope everybody's having a good end of the week here. And I'm going to start out with the coronavirus summary, and then I'm going to talk about the markets very briefly. There was a caller that asked about the seasonals and the eclipse, and I'm going to talk about that after the slide. First of all, coronavirus. So I have a few slides here to talk to you about, and one of them you may have never seen before. So I think you should stick around to see this. Okay, so here's a summary. The number of cases is spiking nationwide. Obviously, we know this. There's severe cases in Florida, Texas, California, North Carolina, and now we're starting to see rolling shutdowns. Now, I had talked about this coronavirus transit. It's the shutdown transit coming in the early part of August. I talk about this in the newsletter, and it looks like it's coming back. It looks like it's actually happening again right on cue. The last time we saw that was on March the 20th. So the second half of July is definitely going to be tougher, I think, for markets than the first half. Deaths are not surging. So why? Well, when you normalize for the number of tests, we are closer to the lows, okay? And I'm going to show you a graph for that in a minute. And there's one Italian doctor that said the disease might be decreasing in intensity. So he's seeing the same patients now, he said, that were on ventilators that are 80 to 90-year-old patients that are actually sitting up in the bed. So for whatever reason that is, maybe there's immunity building up, maybe the disease is mutated. It seems like the intensity is decreasing. So like I said before, the coronavirus shutdown transit will come in early August, and it will affect the economy. This will have a negative effect. There's no way around that. So I think as we get towards the end of July and August, it's going to be a problem. And the solar eclipse was also on the Aries point. So that coronavirus transit that I talk about all the time was also on the Aries point. So there's a lot of energy activating the Aries point. Mars is passing across it right now. So that's a really big hotspot, and that's the world. So again, like I said, we need to watch late July and August. Now, next chart I'm going to show you is the total number of coronavirus cases. So this may be a chart that everybody's seen. This doesn't go down. It's just confirmed cases, just keeps rising. So we're up here around 10 million cases right now, 10.7 million cases. And that chart might not be so interesting to people. But when you test more people, you get more cases. So what would happen if you took this graph and you divided it by the number of cases that you get each day? Well, when you do that, the number of tests you get each day, you actually get a chart that looks like this. This is the actual chart of the coronaviruses per test. In other words, when you test more, you get more cases. So I divided it by the number of tests, and we're actually closer to a low. Now, these are statistics. I got this from the European CDC. This is all real hard facts. So I know this looks strange to people because you're seeing all these cases soar, but what's happening is that people are getting tested more. So you have to understand that. Now, if you look at this, the peak number here was 0.2, and that happened in April 11th. Now, the low was 0.05, which was on June the 16th. So that's about a 4-to-1 ratio, okay? So 4-to-1 ratio. If this graph is true, what's going on in the ICUs? So that's what we need to watch. We need to watch the ICU capacity, and I'm looking at Florida because Florida is a hotspot, okay? So the ICU capacity, the peak in April was 60%. And right now it's about 23% in Florida. So that's about a 3-to-1 ratio. So it looks like this graph is more or less accurate. So I don't want to downplay coronavirus, the seriousness of it. It is very serious, but we have to understand, you have to normalize this data. It's like looking at a relative strength on a stock chart, right? You have an RSI, it goes between 0 and 100%. That's kind of what this is. So I just wanted to show people this because you're not going to see this in the news. And for the life of me, I can't understand why the CDC doesn't do this, because this is really more closer to what is going on in terms of, cases per test. Now, that's not to say we should go out without a mask. Everybody should be wearing masks in public. Unless you're with your family, of course you should be taking, social distancing seriously. But if we want to look at the facts, the data, the hard facts, this is what it is. So I just wanted to point that out to people. Any questions about that?
Sounds pretty good to me.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So the next chart I want to look at is the S&P. So the S&P is in a big rally mode right now. Now the S&P actually defied the Fed juice. The Fed juice is in a sell, and it defied the planetary speed index. So it's actually rising into a falling Fed juice, a falling planetary speed index. And I think a lot of this has to do with the seasonals. There was a small short trade that we took. It just lasted 2 days. I got out of it. I didn't like the way that it looked. And so what I did was I did some more research on these markets. So what I'm going to show you now is what's going on. Now, you had Bill Meridian on yesterday, so anybody who didn't get a chance to hear that, I recommend it. He's an excellent guest. He's one of Larry's best guests, and he was talking about the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction, which is generally positive for the market. So I started thinking about this. Well, what's going on with single transits right now around, up in the sky? So what's actually happening is we have a cluster of transits right now that are very, very positive for the market. So this is a very rare event, especially when the market runs against the Fed juice like that and it runs against the planetary speed index. Something else is going on. So the first thing is this eclipse here. So the eclipse, the pattern of the eclipse is to run up into the eclipse, which is the 4th of July right here. Hopefully everybody can see that. And then it goes up for one more day, Monday, and then it starts its fall. So you had a caller that called in and said, is Monday positive too? And so the answer to that is yes, it is. When you look at the eclipse, and then if you look at the seasonals, so we know that 4th of July is positive, right? So 90% of the time from June the 29th to July the 12th, the market goes up around the 4th of July. And so the 4th of July is right here. So we start to see that there's all of these positive transits that are starting to cluster right around this period right now. The Venus station, everybody knows Venus was retrograde. The markets really like it when Venus goes direct. Okay, it's a very positive event because Venus rules money and markets. And this happened back on June the 25th. And so here's another positive cluster. And this one is 100% in the last 7 occurrences from June 24th to July the 10th. So here's another one that's positive, right? Mercury midpoint. So the Mercury retrograde, when it's going backward, there's a midpoint, and that midpoint tends to mark reversals. So that occurred on the 29th, and that's 72% accurate if you buy on June 29th and sell out. It was further out here in later July. So what you're seeing here is you're seeing just this incredible clustering of positive transits. And I think this is a temporary phenomenon. I think once we get out to later July, there's going to be more issues. So Larry, I think you're spot on by talking about that we could be coming into an important high into here. And then, of course, yesterday we had Bill Meridian talking about this Jupiter-Pluto, and that is it's 100%. I mean, that is a very and he was showing on that efficiency test, it was like 5% that it goes up. So you have all of this positive energy coming into the markets right now, and I think that's what we're seeing on the short term.
Wow, that's good. Can you stay with us for one more segment?
Sure.
Okay, we'll be right back, folks, with Shane Wolf Trader. We'll be right back.
The gold market has taken off topside in a large way in 2020. If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my gold report. The Gold Report took profits in 4 of its equities in the gold portfolio in the first week of January for a combined profit of 99.2%, with 2 positions left in the portfolio that have a profit of 67.5% as of January 7th. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metals sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
TFNN has just launched their July 4th Tiger Dollar sale. For 1 week only, we've doubled all the bonuses where you can now get up to a 20, 30, or even a 40% bonus on your Tiger Dollar purchase. Tiger Dollars are good on all TFNN newsletters, webinars, and trading services and never expire. For all the details and to get your Tiger Dollars before this sale ends Monday, July 6th, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
The Bull Bear Trading Hour with Tom and Tommy O'Brien. Next.
Okay, we're back with Shane Smolian. Shane, we have a question from one of our listeners. Could you walk through the sequence again of the lunar eclipse full moon that we're having here on the 4th of July, and then, actually the 5th of July, and then also how that all fits together, and if you could throw in if perigee is or apogee is present. That's what the question is, and how do you weight those?
Okay, so first of all, the lunar eclipse is dealing with markets that rise into that event. Okay, so essentially what that is this is an opposition, and I don't factor in perigee into the equation. I'm just looking at when does the eclipse occur, and they occur at different angles. There's spheric angles, so sometimes there's a larger eclipse, sometimes it's less. I only care about if there's a minimum amount of eclipse occurring, okay? And then I look at what happens into that. I can throw in perigee into the equation, but that's like a separate variable to test. The only variable that I'm testing right now is the eclipse. So generally what tends to happen on lunar eclipses is it tends to draw the market into a high. And so I'll go back for a second here onto the last time that we had this. This actually occurred back on the 11th of July here. So I have a chart here. This is the S&P. Now you can see that this occurred. This actually drew in the market into this eclipse here, and it was like here was the eclipse, and then it went up for one more day, and then it started into this decline. So the last lunar eclipse was here, and so it had that pattern of drawing in the market to a high. In that case, and the Fed use was in a buy in that particular position. So I think what's going on right now is we're having multiple events occurring, multiple positive events, but the only one that looks negative by Monday or Monday at the close is the eclipse. So the eclipse occurs on July the 4th, and so the markets appear to be drawing into a high again on that, and then the first possibility of trouble, I would say, is Monday at the close. I also have an indicator called the Cat Master Signal. That's also on a sell on the 6th. So I think that's the next best shot at a short. It doesn't mean it will happen, but I think that's the next best shot. This Jupiter-Pluto conjunction, I want to talk about that too. That's really, really important right now. It's very rare. And Jupiter, Pluto is sign of Scorpio, and Jupiter with Pluto is good luck for Scorpios. And so I think we got to look at this with the election right now, because Joe Biden is a Scorpio, and he seems to be having all this luck right now. He hasn't had a campaign, and he's up in the polls, and this is all Jupiter stuff. And Jupiter will be conjunct Pluto right around the election. He's also looking into a running mate of Susan Rice, which is another Scorpio. So we cannot rule this out when we're talking about the election, too. I think that's an important factor to consider. So this is a really, really important conjunction. The markets obviously like it. Scorpio is a friend of the United States chart. So in general, it's a positive thing for the markets, but positive for Joe Biden. And I will be talking about the presidential stuff a little bit later. But that's my first little bit of information I'll throw out to people, that this is a big, big part of Joe Biden's rise right now and his popularity in the polls. So he still has to get through the debates and whatnot, but I just wanted to point that out to people. So that's it for the eclipse. Now, again, these clustering of events, positive. The planetary speed index is actually in a sell right now, but these positive events, I think, are just temporarily overriding it. Now, if it is stronger, it could go out until the 15th of July before it starts to decline. But by the end of July, I think there's a problem. This is a chart I just wanted to show people too. This is the S&P versus the banks. Now, I look at relative strength on the markets, and I put this in the newsletter, and the last chart of the transits, I put that in. I have on the website now, I have a Google Slides presentation for the subscribers. But this banking index is really, really weak, and I think this is a problem. It's not getting better. The tech stocks are looking okay, but this one is not. This is JP Morgan, and the reason I like JP Morgan is because they're a shareholder in the Fed. They're one of the most important players, JP Morgan and Bank of America, and look at the relative weakness of this compared to the S&P. So that's not a good sign. I'd really like to see this turning up. So I think on the short term, the S&P has a burden of proof. It has to prove itself. I'd have to see it making the new highs and rallying out. But right now, I don't like the way this looks with the banks. So that's something that we have to watch on the short term. On the long term, I think the S&P still looks pretty good. But on the short term, I think after we get through this positive cluster, I think there could be some issues in the latter half of July. I see it as a more negative month for sure, and I wrote about that in the newsletter. Any questions?
Well, that's spot on what the answer was. I think that sounds really great. Now, I've always looked at perigee and apogee, but those are shorter term, and I'm much shorter term trader than most folks because I like to keep it close to the vest. But I agree with you. Coming into the weekend, it looks like with this 3-drive pattern that we have going on in this NASDAQ, I really think it means something. The question is whether it's going to work or not. So that's pretty much it.
I think there's a chance of it, and I think the Fed is performing what I call a mini stress test, and they've been pulling back since mid-May. But you see this little rise here. It actually front ran the Fed a little bit here. That was rather impressive. The market kind of did this on its own. The Fed did uptick a little bit here, but I think this is probably temporary what we're seeing in the markets. But it's enough for me to take it seriously, to stand aside right now on this market. So anyway, if anybody wants to get in touch, you can go to wolftraderfutures.com. We have 5 newsletters now. I just came out with the energy newsletter under popular demand. And so, these are they're improving every month. I do have Fed juice now for multiple symbols, metals, energy, and currencies. So if you subscribe to the newsletter, you will be able to see that on the website. So, each month we're working on improving these newsletters. Obviously, the energy was new this month, but these symbols we have been using in the gold service the whole time. So I'm just kind of rolling these out one by one for people. So take a look at that. I mean, if you want to go over to the website again, it's wolftraderfutures.com, and there's a free email list. You can sign up there, or Twitter is wolftraderfutu1, or we also have Facebook, Wolf Trader Futures. You can get in touch with us there. So again, this is a day-by-day process, but I think that's a pretty clear picture of what's going on right now with the markets. I just think that we are looking at just a really positive cluster right now, and as we get out further, there could be some issues.
Hey, thanks for joining us, my friend. I really appreciate it. We have one. I'm not even going to. We have one where someone has a question. Will you be offering a juice machine sometime in the future? That's from one of my
I love
old
orange
friends.
juice. I love orange juice.
Well, that's from my old buddy Jack Lane. He had that juicing machine. He made millions of dollars on that thing. And
I bought one. I got into juicing. Yeah. I still have one in my kitchen right now. I love that stuff.
Oh, what a super guy he was. He lived a long time. Yeah, he did. He and his wife never had any children, but boy, they were sure philanthropic and really, really nice people. So, hey, thanks for joining us. Happy 4th of July, and have a good time with those kids. And be safe, my friend. Be safe.
Thanks, Larry. Take care, everybody. Have a happy 4th.
Okay, folks, we got a little break coming up here, and then we can all take the long weekend off.
Back in the day, I joined Hotel California in 2006, and like many of you, was drawn in by, BAM! As well as,
whatever you think about, you bring about. Whatever you focus on grows.
You see, I believe that everything in life happens for us, not to us. And Tom ignited the fire within me to want to learn how to master the markets. So how did I go from knowing nothing about technical analysis to becoming the #1 market timer for the S&P 500 in 2018 and the #2 market timer in 2019? Simply put, I hired coaches with a proven track record, which led me to a whole new set of tools that I created to interpret the message of buyers and sellers. I would love the opportunity to teach you this award-winning set of tools and to help you improve your market timing. You can test drive my newsletter service, Mastering Probabilities, for the next 30 days with no risk to you. Plus, you'll gain access to archive workshops that'll take you step-by-step through my system. Sign up today by going to the homepage of TFNN.com and selecting Mastering Probability in the newsletter tab.
BAM! If you haven't checked out the newsletters page of TFNN.com, what are you waiting for? All of the TFNN newsletters are informative, up-to-date, affordable, and a must-have for every trader looking to gain a competitive informational edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets to offer you the very latest in market news. Plus, new subscribers get to test drive our newsletters risk-free for 30 days. From all aspects of the markets, including stocks, bonds, metals, commodities, and tech, there's a newsletter to fit your needs exclusively from TFNN. Stay informed each day you trade and get that competitive edge that will help you stay ahead of the game. Visit our newsletters page by going to TFNN.com and click the newsletters button near the top of the page. TFNN.com, educating investors.
With markets trading with extreme volatility and peaks and troughs everywhere, regardless of what you're looking at in the markets, this is a great time to see the type of analysis Basil Chapman delivers for his subscribers every market day with the Opening Call newsletter. Basil has been analyzing markets, providing his take for subscribers to his trading services since 1984. Every morning, Basil publishes an update for his subscribers, along with weekend and evening updates when warranted. The Opening Call provides traders a daily market overview with regard to the direction of the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, along with specific recommendations, including stops and targets. You also gain instant access to Basil's subscriber webinar archive from earlier this year, a dark cloud cover, and essential market analysis. Ride the Chapman wave today by signing up for the Opening Call newsletter on the front page of TFNN.com under the newsletter tab. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Sign up today.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Okay, folks, let's get back to where we're looking at here. I'm going to stick with old Yogi Berra and dance with the girl you brought to the dance. And these are my patterns that I'm looking at, folks. And I'm looking at an ABCD. I'm looking at a 1.27 expansion here in the NASDAQ. And over the last 2 weeks, I'm looking at a near perfect one ABCD pattern with a 3-drive pattern saying around one, looks like 10,396, somewhere in that ballpark. That's all I can see. It might not work, but with those three things, you've got an ABCD going back to 2019 that is perfect. You've got the 78% retracement back, which was perfect. You've got the 3-drive pattern that is perfect. The trouble is you might have to risk more than you might want to in this, and if it closes much above 10,450, it's certainly wrong. And with Tesla going crazy, anything can happen in these markets, and it usually does. But we are over some really powerful lunar stuff with this eclipse cycle that we have with the lunar eclipse coming in here on Sunday. And then also remember we had Bill Meridian on yesterday talking about that Pluto aspect that's been right 10 times out of 10. And it's at these times where there's nothing that's going to be 100% all the time. So I'm looking at that as possibly being an inverted pattern, but that may or may not happen. That's all I'm looking at. The gold, we've had a pretty good sell-off. We backed off a little bit more than $40, and we stopped right at the 78% retracement of that last move, and now we're rallying back. If we get gold to close above 1800, we could easily get up to those levels that Bill is talking about. Remember, the old high in gold, folks, came in August of 2011 at $1,931 per ounce. We're less than $200 away from that, so it could easily make that. And with the stuff that's going on in the news about the counterfeit gold bars that are out there, you have to be very careful. If you're going to buy gold, folks, don't buy bars. Buy the little coins themselves, because they're like little bars. They're mini bars, and they can easily be assayed. You can do it in your hand, actually, if you go online and look out how to do it. But you can see whether they're real gold or not. So have a wonderful 4th of July, and we'll see you folks on Monday.